Hey guys, Sherman614 here. I'm doing this video for a user by the name of, and I hope I'm pronouncing this right. If I mispronounce it, I'm sorry. Their name is Dendros Spisviridis 1. I'll put their name down there in the description box. And they asked a very simple, yet I thought a very good question. They asked why people like Spyderco knives so much. And they said, you know, that I'm assuming it's a guy. He asked that, you know, why people like them so much. He said the designs are weird, you know, just weren't for him. So I told him I'd do this video, show just in my opinion why people are so attracted to Spyderco knives, and why I happen to be very attracted to Spyderco knives. So everything in this video is either A, my personal opinion, or just features that this knife has that other knives just simply don't. But, you know, so everything is just my opinion here. Your opinion may vary, of course. If you're watching this video and you hate Spyderco knives, then, you know, I'm personally a huge fan of Spyderco knives. I think Spyderco, as a whole, is probably my favorite knife maker. That's as a whole. Like, I don't like all of their knives, just in general, you know, anyway. Alright, let's just get started with the things that I love about Spyderco knives, and maybe some downsides too. Let's just use this Spyderco Delica as a reference. First off, right off the bat, you're going to notice that it is insanely thin and light. Let's compare it to a cold steel tie light. And it's a whole handle scale bigger. So it's very thin. You barely notice these in your pocket at all. So that's one. Two is, okay, just a little attention to detail that Spyderco does that many knife makers do not do. Okay, you see you see the Volcano grips here, the multi-directional FRN texturing there. Anyway. You have this little plate here, almost like plaque type of deal, where it says Spyderco and then Delica 4 with their logo. It has it on the opposite side as well. And it's smooth. The pocket clip rests on that, so when you it's very easy to put into your pocket and take off your pocket without it ripping it up, because it's not resting on that hard material, like many knife designs have, such as the Tenacious. It's resting on that rough G10. Even the Tasman Salt, an older Spyderco model, it has the pocket clip resting on the rough texturing. So the 4 models get it, like the Delica 4 and Dura 4, you know, they get it right there. So that's a small attention to detail that I love. Kershaw also does the same thing with their knives, most of them. Let's see, their quality. You would have to pick up a Spyderco. And I don't know anybody watching this video who probably hasn't picked up a Spyderco at some time in their life. Just know how smooth they open. Just insanely smooth. Now, a lot of people, I'm going to try to dispel this little myth. A lot of people I've talked to said they don't like Spydercos because they're too slow to deploy. Well, take this out of my pocket. It's out. With a little practice, you can get this open as fast as a knife with a thumb stud. Maybe, if not faster. Because if you get the waved Enduras and Delicas, which is this little portion, it's like a little hook that protrudes off of the blade, it acts like this does, like the cold steel tie light. As you draw it out of your pocket, the wave will clip onto the edge of your pocket and will deploy the knife as it's being pulled out of your pocket. Just like the tie light. Works the same way. It's called the waved models. You can get a waved Delica and Endura. So that's the fastest deployment method of any knife ever. Any pocket knife anyway. That's faster than automatic, because automatic you still gotta draw it out of your pocket and click the button. This is deployed by the time it exits your pocket. If you get the waved model, that is. So you can get these in wave. And you can also do something that's called the Spidey Drop. Let's see if I can do this all in frame, but if you were to mount the clip to where the blade is tipped down, you can reach into your pocket and take your index finger and your thumb and pinch them together, so that the Spidey hole is in between your fingers. You want it loose, draw it out of your pocket, flip the knife back like this, to where the butt of the knife is like resting on your knuckle, and squeeze tight, and then flick the blade forward. Or the handle forward, I should say. It'll look like that. So, that's a fast deployment method. It's also pretty flashy. Or you can also just draw it out of your pocket and use your thumbnail and a little wrist action there. It's easy, guys. Is it as fast generally as a knife with a thumb stud? Sometimes. I usually get that flip. There we go. That compared to... It's about the same. It just takes a little bit more practice. So a little bit more practice, you can get that opening as fast as a knife with a thumb stud. So, I'm just going to dispel that you can't open Spyderco knives very fast. And it's a little bit easier with the Endura, because you got that more blade to work with there. But anyway, so you got that. And like I said, these are just super comfortable in the pocket. They're very well constructed. You have 4 Torx bits going down the handle. So it's very well put together. Very sturdy. Now, I've had a few people say the same thing with the black FRN plain edge versions of the Endura 4s. Mine has a little bit of blade play, up and down. But I've done plenty of spine wax with this damn thing. In case you're not familiar, that's where you get your fingers out of the way, of course. You tap the spine of the knife up against a hard surface. It's never failed, ever, and I don't think it will because it's a lockback. Now, I know a lot of people say that their models did not, but there's also a few people who said they have. Talked to a few people who had the FFG models. They said there's no blade play, so I guess they fixed that. Now the Delica, absolutely no blade play whatsoever, up and down or side to side, and I've never had to mess with that pivot screw on either of those knives. Either of these. They've both came perfect right out of the box, and they've never come loose. None of these screws have come loose. So another great thing that I think Spyderco does that a lot of companies don't, but are starting to now. Now with a lot of their models, such as like a lot of their newer models, such as the Delica 4s and the Tenacious, they have the 4-way pocket clip design, the 4-way directional pocket clip. They all come right hand tip up. You can adjust it to right hand tip down, or left hand tip down and left hand tip up. So it is completely ambidextrous. And with the Spidey hole, you don't have to worry about having dual thumb studs or having to take a thumb stud out and reposition it. And the deployment holes, the Spidey holes, are big enough for, I think, anybody's thumb, really. So, a lot of people don't like the hole. But I tell you something that because of the design, it has a thumb ramp. And that's from the design of the blade having the hole. You also get an added thumb ramp. So that's excellent for your grip. And also, Spyderco gets their jimping right. That jimping is very, very purposeful. It's very sharp, digs into your thumb. And like I said, it's got that added thumb ramp, so your hand isn't slipping. You got the nice little flared out portion of the handle right here. And Spyderco's, I mean, I've never talked to anybody who said they weren't comfortable. Like I said, they're very thin, and it's got all these little grooves and everything, and usually I hate that. I hate knives with finger grooves. But I mean, like Cutlery Lover says, your hand just melts into these Spyderco knives. Love them. They have skeletonized, a little bit of skeletonized liners. It's hard to see down in there without the flashlight. I usually have a flashlight right here, but anyway. They're not as skeletonized as I would like to see, but that's okay because it also adds to the design of the blade, the design of the knife being very strong. So that adds some strength. because like I said, they're very thin and light. You also have some jimping right here on the top of the molded FRN handles. Not that purposeful, really. A lot more so than most knives, though, I'll give it that. And the multi-directional Volcano grips are perfect because they're slanted upward going this way, so that you can hold it like this when you're gripping it. It's just in the right position. Same goes for this one, because on this end there are slanted upward like this, so your fingers are catching on both ends. So very good design, Spyderco. Also, people say you can't close them one-handed. I've heard that from a few people before. It's very easy. Depress the lock with your thumb. Use your index finger, grab the Spidey hole, bring it forward a little bit, change your grip, close the rest of the way. Or what Spyderco does is they leave that little portion right there unsharpened of their blade. So put your finger right up under your index finger right up under the flared part of the handle. Disengage that lock and bring the blade forward until it hits your finger. Change up your grip and close it like that. So it's easy to close one-handed. Trust me, this used to be my work knife. I had to work one-handed. I'd have a box or a strap in one hand, and I'd have to cut it and still hold on to it and put it back in my pocket. So I use that one a lot. I've dropped this knife on concrete several times and never cracked. Screw never came loose. The only thing that happened was the blade deployed and got scratched up a little bit. You can see it right there. So Vg10 Steel, which the Enduras and Delicas are made of, plus a lot of other of the Spyderco knives. Great steel. I know I don't need to really say much to a lot of you guys, but Vg10 Steel is comparable to Benchmade's 154 CM, and it's just an incredible steel. I've had great luck with my Vg10. It's never rusted on any of my knives with Vg10. Oops, sorry. And Spyderco gets their sharpening process just right. Just like Kershaw, I've never had a Spyderco that was not insanely razor sharp out of the box. Now this one I've resharpened, so it's not a very good test. This one is this has the factory edge. I've never touched this Endura up. It has had a lot of use though. I've cut a lot of cardboard with it. Well, not a lot, I've cut some. And I've cut a lot of corrugated plastic, oh god, little pieces of siding. But so that's with use. That's the factory edge they put on it with use. Vg10 Steel, you can get an insanely razor edge on it, insanely sharp razor edge, and it just retains that edge very well. I've, like I said, had great luck with my Vg10. So Spyderco gets it right there. Also, most of the Enduras and Delicas, I think if not all of them, are made in Seki City, Japan. The other ones are made in Colorado. The ones that are not made in Japan, they're made in Colorado. Or every once in a while you'll come across a Chinese Spyderco. This is the Tenacious, and they also make the Tenacious, Persistence, and God, what's the third one they make? Tenacious, Persistence, Tenacious, and the starts with an R. I forgot, guys, sorry. But these are a very much cheaper Spyderco knife. If you like the design and you like the quality, this is the Spyderco Tenacious. Full flat ground blade. 8CR13 MOV steel blade. Cheap steel. It's one of the cheapest you can get. But this knife came razor sharp, believe it or not. It came hair popping sharp. So I was very pleased with that. It has moderate edge retention. 8CR13 MOV isn't total crap. But it's made in China. G10 handles. Very slick, like the checkering is not done very well. The Kershaw Skyline has excellent G10 texturing. A liner lock. So if you do not like lockbacks, which most Spydercos are, this says liner lock. So does the Persistence. And the third one, which I cannot remember. Rock solid lockup, absolutely no blade play up and down or side to side. Also has the 4-way directional pocket clip design, so that's great, especially for a $30 knife. This is $30, at many knife websites. So the persistence is a little bit cheaper because it's smaller. And then the third one is the biggest. I cannot remember what it is. Oh, this is driving me crazy. I want to say it starts with an R. God, I cannot remember. But it's a little bit, it's about $38. It's a little bit bigger though. Then you have ones like this older model. This is the Spyderco Tasman Salt, part of their salt line. It's made with H1 steel, which is corrosion resistant. So it does not rust. Not easily anyway. I've seen people put these in a tank of salt water for a week and they didn't develop any rust. So excellent blade design. They make a bunch of different models too. Insanely light because this knife does not have any steel liners. It is just FRN. So pocket clip is only mounted for tip up. Left or right hand though. They make a yellow handled version of this as well. Excellent knife. The handle is only pinned together with one pin, and the pivot point is pinned. There is no screw to adjust it. But it has absolutely no blade play up and down. A little bit side to side. You can probably see it wiggle, but it's just FRN handles. There's no steel liners, so what do you expect? Put that knife through a lot of hard use, guys. So yeah, I've gone over the weight. You can get, they make lightweight kits for these that have even more drilled out liners. But if you have a drill press, you can just do it yourself. I've seen a lot of guys who've done that. So, the Enduras, if you look around, you can find them for about $55. I just recently, I just kind of gave it away. I ordered a new Endura. I'm not going to say which one though, but I did order a new Endura. And it was 56 on Newgram. And the Delicas run about 50 depending on where you can, depending on where you look. The Tasman Salt I paid $40 for, I believe. Maybe 50. And the Tenacious was 30. So if you like the Spyderco design, give or take, and you want maybe a liner lock, it's more what you're familiar with, then go with the Tenacious. And as I was saying earlier, also a characteristic of Spydercos, most of them are lockbacks. The little detent here, the little Boyd dent, as they call it. It just kind of offers a little bit because you can easily find it and your thumb digs into it and it's just easy. But so yeah, that's why I love Spydercos. They're made insanely well. They're very, very comfortable. The ergonomics are perfect on every model I've ever held. They pay close attention to detail, which I'm a huge fan of. They come razor sharp. The blade steels on most of them are incredible. You can also get S30V Spydercos as well. And I just like the way they look. There's no knife that looks like a Spyderco. Not, mainstream knife anyway. You can get knockoffs and whatnot, but I mean, even Benchmade has the rights to use the Spidey hole. So, to kind of use that idea. So, I love them. It offers a completely ambidextrous knife. Also, if you're wearing thick gloves and a lot of knives, you cannot deploy the thumb stud. Like, look how close that thumb stud's mounted to the handle. If you're wearing thick gloves, you're never getting that blade out. These are designed a little bit more towards, heavy-duty use, and you can get, if you're wearing thick work gloves or even standard, issue military gloves or whatever, you can open and deploy these knives. So, that is the reason why I love Spyderco knives, and there's some, your pros about them, and some of the things and materials that they use, and I think I, shed some light on every subject that, or every reason, I should say, why people love Spyderco knives. And if I left anything out, just leave a comment down there. And also, everybody watching this who has a video camera, and you just, if you want to, and you're a Spyderco fan, I'd like to see some video responses. And I want to see some video responses of you guys showing off your Spyderco collection, or even if you just have one, Or maybe just show your favorite Spyderco and list why it, and like state in the video why it's your favorite. So yeah, I'd like to see your guys' Spyderco videos and why you love Spyderco, or why you love your Spyderco knife in particular. And yeah, I'd really like to see some of those video responses, guys. So that'd be cool. But I mean, there's absolutely like no pressure. If you don't want to or you can't, then that's fine. I just want to see hear some other opinions on why you guys love your knives. Alright guys, that was my little me gushing over Spydercos. Hope you guys enjoyed. Any questions or any comments, you know where to put them. Or message me, whichever. Sherman614, peace.